Alright, what's up guys? This is gonna be the second installment in my updated guide on all the characters. Today we're gonna be working on REAVER after I get past this fucking spin no lose thing. I always lose this, so I've never won anything like good from this thing at all. Everything I've gotten so far has been so bad. Anyway, updated guide on REAVER. I don't think I've made a guide on REAVER, but if not, this is going to be the first one. So a few things you want to know before you play REAVER is that his base health is 1000, and that's probably the lowest in the game. I believe it's the lowest in the game for the simple fact that he doesn't have a health perk at all, or a health talent. He has 0 health talents at all, and 5% added health on him is only 50. So I'm pretty sure you can assume what 2% would be. But let's move into this. His melee is 170. His full charge melee will do about 375, which is the same as his sweeping kick. So just keep that in mind. He doesn't have a high damage output, but it's made up by his mobility and his melee speed. One thing you do not want to do on REAVER is stack melee speed or attack speed. The more attack speed you have, the lower distance you travel. So if I was to stack all attack speed, my melees would be shorter, so they wouldn't extend out as far as they could because I have a bunch of attack speed. So it's kind of like Nosgoth's way of balancing the game out. If you have fast attack speed, you don't attack as far. If you have low attack speed, obviously you're going to go a little bit farther than what you would normally go. So keep that in mind. Anyway, moving in. On the ability that I like to use for my primary ability or my special, whichever one you prefer to fucking call it, is the sweeping kick, obviously. Because out of all his abilities, the sweeping kick is just the most consistent, and it keeps a consistent flow of movement towards an enemy. You don't have to stop or do anything else. It's just continuously moving forward, and you're not stopping your progress, compared to, like, let's say a pounce or a leap attack. A pounce, leap attack, or savage pounce. Before, you could be running at someone, right, and let's say you wanted to use one of these abilities. You would have to drop your momentum downward to the ground to get into the position of using this ability, right? And then you would have to push your momentum forward, which is the moment which your pounce or your leap attack or savage pounce leaps forward. So it's pushing your momentum down, basically the visual of pushing your momentum down, because you have to get down to the ground before you can use it, and then pushing it forward randomly, which sweeping kick is just consistent. You see an enemy, you use it, and you're just moving forward towards that enemy, like, consistently without stopping, and it's just overall better. Just overall better for, like, team play, damage, because savage pounce and pounce can be stopped in they can stop you in mid-air, basically. So if you try to pounce someone, you get like if you take 250 damage from a savage pounce or pounce, it will knock you out of the air, and you'll basically wasted your special ability. So I always run with sweeping kick unless I'm trolling. Generally the best. But sweeping kick has a 10-second cooldown. It does 375 damage, and it staggers the enemy. The stagger effect is actually pretty good. Usually what you want to do is come in after like a tyrant charge or a bird grab and kick that person, because your stagger will reset them to take full damage. because when you take some type of CC, or you do a type of CC on anyone in this game, they take reduced damage for the duration of them being on the ground. So with a stagger ability, it resets that so they don't take the reduced damage, because staggers doesn't last as long as all the other CCs in the game. It lasts maybe like 0.5 of a second. So you stagger them, they stand back up immediately, take full damage from everything else that follows. So if you've ever been warbowed and then they throw knives at you, like immediately, you'll take full damage from everything else that comes up. But generally what you want to do is pair this with a tyrant charge or a bird's grab. So tyrant charges through, you kick the person that the tyrant charges, they'll take full damage from everything, and they're just insta dead. Same for bird grabs. They get a grab, you kick them as they land or before they land if you're good enough, and they'll take full damage from the fall, everything. So that's one thing to keep in mind. So I haven't charged my shit up for Reaver in quite some time. But generally what I like to do is I like to keep a consistent variation of enchants on Reaver in particular, because there's no go-to enchantment for Reaver that's just gonna make you super OP or super strong. So you gotta work with what you got, you know. So what I normally use is Choking Haze, and I use the plus 4% damage when below a certain amount of health, or 33% health. I use that for the simple fact that that extra damage, let's say it's like 15 or like 8 damage added on to something that I do when I'm low, that damage may or may not make a difference. So if a human is like, let's say 380 health, and I come in with a sweeping kick on them and I'm below 33% health, I may or may not be able to kill them with that one kick. It's just small things like that add up in this game. You might get lucky, and it might be the difference between you winning an ESL match or you losing an ESL match. The second enchant I run with is plus 2% dodge distance and plus 2% cooldown, or dodge cooldown. Reason why I run that is to reduce the 5% dodge cooldown and the 5% dodge whatever on my main ability, because that's one thing that you just don't want to stack too much of that, because it can bite you in your ass when you want to get away. So that's what I use for my Choking Haze. Let me go back over the special ability real quick. The reason why I use 5% movement speed on kill, or 5% and 5% attack speed on kill, is because if I get a kill, hypothetically, that 5% movement speed and that 5% attack speed for that 5 seconds that I have it could make a huge difference in a team fight. Because 5% movement speed added on to whatever to my sweeping kick increases my distance, basically. I'll travel faster and I'll travel farther with my sweeping kick. So just keep that in mind. And I use the plus 5% health, max health, because his health is just so low. It's ridiculously low. And he's very, very underpowered for the simple fact that he can't survive anything, and he can't really do much in team fights. He's not a great overall pick if you want to be competitive, but certain people can make it work. So my secondary ability, the secondary ability varies from evasion and shadow step. Obviously they're the only two good ones that you should be using. Haste is you're giving up your escape for no reason, you know. Plus it increases your melee speed, so your attack distance is lowered. So just keep that type of stuff in mind. And your sweeping kick goes off faster, I believe, when you have haste on, if I remember correctly. But normally I use Shadow Step with the on kill, because I've already explained the on kill. The plus 2 seconds on Shadow Step don't really matter because Shadow Step's cooldown is pretty low anyway. Plus 5% regen speed. I use that for the simple fact that I'm trying to balance out everything, which in a way I kind of fucked up with this because the 2% dodge distance kind of cancels out the 2% dodge distance right there. So I just have like one nerf on me for no reason. But my intentions were to try to balance out each one of these things so that I can have a variation, so I can make a well-balanced character out of something that's not very strong in the current meta. Because like he doesn't have a lot to offer, so I might as well put a bunch of enchants on him that vary, that can make him into a better overall character to play, than to put one type of build or something like that that may or may not work when I want it to work. Like, you can't go with a full on kill build if you don't get kills. Like, you can't go with the 4% damage below health. Like, you can't go stacking all that if you don't get below that type of health because you run away from fights or some shit. But I digress. Evasion is also really good because it normally catches people off guard. It's really bad against hunters though, because of the simple fact that they have explosive shot. An explosive shot is 300 damage. They'll just light you up real quick and then finish off your teammates. So keep in mind that these two right here are both situational. I would say that evasion is better sometimes than Shadow Step, because a lot of times Reaver go in last, so the hunters already use explosive shots. You can break bolas, and you can just be a real pest to people in team fights. Plus, it catches them off guard. Oh shit! Look at the Reaver. He's low. You know, let's shoot him, guys. Evasion, and he just runs away. Like Shadow Step, you can still get shot at the end of your Shadow Step, and I've seen it so many fucking times where a Reaver with Shadow Step into the air and gets shot by a scout. For the simple fact, you can't get away from us like that. Like, we're good players. You can't get away from us by Shadow Stepping into the air. If you use Shadow Step, use it along the ground, or use it to get behind a tight corridor or something like that, so that you can actually have a use, like a meaningful use for it. And one thing that good players will use, or good players will do with it every now and then, is they'll use it to slide up against a wall to kind of catch someone off guard. So the way I use it mostly is sliding across the wall. I'll engage a team fight per se. I'll slide across a wall, bounce off of one with the Shadow Step, and then, you know, land behind someone. A lot of people don't use it like that, but I'm pretty confident in my ability to get in and get out without having this ability. So that's the way I use it. Alright, down to the talent. This is going to be coming, the video will be coming to an end pretty soon after this. The talent I use is increased movement speed by 5% and increased climb speed by 20%. The 5% obviously because it increases the distance, or it makes me feel like it increases the distance of my sweeping kick, for the simple fact that sweeping kick doesn't stop your momentum. So if you're running and your movement speed plays into your momentum as a vampire when you're running, especially with sweeping kick. So if you're running and you have high movement speed, you're going to go farther with your sweeping kick because it's the momentum that's pushing you up there. So the faster you run, the more momentum you have, and it pushes you. It's like physics of fucking life. You get the idea. The only other one that I would suggest is Frenzy. This perk right here is just like, why? Like, successful melees reduce your cooldown by 1 second. But the simple fact is you don't have enough health to go for these successful melees. So why even attempt to? You have 1,000 health or 1,050 health, and you're trying to go for a bunch of melees on somebody. Like, it's not, you're not going to get away with that. You know, you're not going to get those melees to reduce your cooldown by that much. You know, Reaver should be doing a hit and run type of style where I jump in, I kick you, I melee you, I run away, and behind the corner, when the moment you move, I'm hitting you with another charge attack, and then by that time my kick's up. You know, he's just being around the team fight, you know, adding damage when he can and cleaning up kills when he can. He's not an all-in, I'm just gonna melee you to death, blah blah blah. You know, he's not that. He's a hit and run around the team fight, not hit and run around the fucking map, but he's hit and run around that team fight. But this ability, you're not gonna be able to melee that much. There's no way in hell you're gonna be able to melee someone to reduce your cooldown by all 10 seconds unless you have it like that. This ability is just like, there's no point in having this one for the simple fact that sleeping kick doesn't get anything from it. Berserker, killing an enemy increases your movement speed by 20% and your attack speed by 10%. You have to kill an enemy first. The thought behind this perk is good, but it actually working is not going to happen. For the simple fact, you have to get a kill. If you don't get a kill, you're wasting an ability. What happens if you die instantly in a team fight? What did you bring to the team fight if you have no ability? All these other abilities can at least bring something to the team fight, even if you die early. Well, the movement speed does, the frenzy does, and the cooldown does. But these 3 perks right here, if you die, you're not bringing anything to your team. Anyway, overall, I believe the best perk for Reaver is Night Stalker for the increased movement speed and kicking. Plus, it makes you just that much more evasive to hit, and you know, you can get in and out of situations easily. The skin I go with is the marked skin, because look how badass it is. But thank you guys for watching. I really do appreciate all the support, and be sure to leave a comment, a like or dislike, either one. They both help me. Be sure to check out my Twitch TV or twitch.tv/PrideFumo. All the support I can get always helps, and I appreciate all the comments on the videos, guys. It really does help me improve. But as always, Xeus is out.